Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up as the guardian of the blue paint turned writer extraordinaire is on his game this week. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. In fact, it is still dripping. That's how fresh off the presses the articles are. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest.
Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Writers Inc. I'm your host, Lance Green.
And I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers. Oh my gosh, man. We got a great show for you guys. We got an awesome lineup for you with great articles from Lance and man, wow. Okay, so we're going to do our best, we promise. Can the Flyers learn from their mistakes is the title of the show. And all right, good. You just took a deep breath. Okay, I can tell you got your mouthpieces not in because you're ready to talk some I'm sorry. I get it. Okay, Lance, today you dropped a huge knowledge bomb on the world today with your latest piece onto flyersnittygritty.com. And you also, the other article that you talked about, or that you wrote just a couple of days prior, we're going to get into. First of all, I would like to say congratulations to you for doing some games. Since our last show, you were at a game and was able to cover a game there for the Flyers.
Sure.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. Loved seeing some of that footage. That's great. Love to see that. Looking dapper as well, too, you know.
I try.
That's right. You gotta walk the walk and talk the talk, you know. So, also, I'd like to thank FlyersNittyGritty.com and Jamie Baskow and the rest of the group there for helping the Hockey Writers Inc. to make Bleacher Reports for the 19th week in a row. That is the salute. Big thank yous to those guys, and all their support and everything that they do to help us and support you, Lance, and to help you live out your dream and help me live out mine too. You know what I mean? So big thanks.
Indeed, yes.
So big props to them. Thank you very much. We would also like to thank our sponsor, K9CountryClubResorts.com. They have been a great supporter of us pretty much since the beginning, and look for some great things for them. We're going to be showing a commercial from them as well too, so it's a great place for your pets and get all your pet daycare needs. They have a pool, indoor and an outdoor pool. They do all kinds of great programs there called the WAGS program that you get your dog enrolled in, and you can also do multiple stays and or just regular daycare days or an hour. So thank you very much to them for being our sponsor. Check them out, www.cccresorts.com. All right, buddy, here we go. This is it. This is the whole meat, and this is the whole crux. The first article that we're going to talk about is the one that you dropped today, that huge knowledge bomb. The Flyers now find themselves in pursuit of some help in between the pipes. Just released on Flyers Nitty Gritty today. It's still dripping the ink on this. And it's just another home run when it comes to this great article. Cannot say enough how hard it is to write the truth and then talk about it.
Yeah, very much. A lot of people that saw this title, they thought I came up with the idea of trading Carter or looking for other people and all this, and that is totally false, guys. This is Chuck Fletcher's baby. This is what he's been rumored to be looking for ever since Hart was basically made a healthy scratch a couple of games ago. So this is a reality. This isn't just me sitting here dreaming up this stuff. This is a harsh reality of where the team is headed right now. I think the strongest point I made possibly in this article is that both Chuck Fletcher and AV don't have any holds onto Hart. Okay. And by what I mean by that is they didn't draft him. They didn't have any part in bringing him to Philadelphia. So, maybe Ron Hextall would have maybe babied this, guy along a little bit more and spoon fed him along. But these guys need to win now. And, both of their jobs are looking to be rather grim right now if they don't get things squared away rather quickly. And this is just one way that Chuck Fletcher, I guess, sees that he possibly could better this team now. When I wrote this article, do I agree with this decision? No. As I stated in the article, I think that the root of the problem is not the goaltending, although
we're going to get
both
into that.
both their numbers are not the greatest, but this is not the root of the problem. That's for sure.
Exactly. And this is one of the reasons why I call this article a home run. This is what I mean by it's hard to write the truth and then talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is why this platform exists, man, for you to be able to do exactly that. For you to be able to give us the reasons and the rhymes and the wherefores and the where-tos of what's going on here with these articles. And this is why I love doing this, man, because I love picking your brain. And I love the articles that you write, man, because you write the truth. Okay, and this is why I started watching Jamie, because I love reading Jamie's stuff because it's all about the truth. It's the core. It's from here. Okay, that's what I like. You know what I mean? Plus, it's correct.
Yeah, that's what me and Jamie really sat down and talked about when he started this website, and when he urged me to come join him. And
Thank you, Jamie.
This is what this is what we wanted to do,
For
and
sure.
provide a place for real Flyer fans to get real information, not somebody that's been working for the team or whatever for a paper for so long that they have to write feel-good articles, let's say, about the team all the time, when it's not really the case of the way the fans are feeling right now. So
Exactly. This is another reason why I love giving you the platform to do this in a video format as well, too. So thank you for all that. I'm going to go a little off the rails here, and this. Suppose you're the owner of the team. What would your first move be in regards to this issue?
Well, I mean,
exactly with what you explained in the article, and this is why I'm asking you this, because of what you explained in the article. So that's why I want to ask you this question. Now, you are the owner of this team. What's the first move you do?
Well, it's very tough. Right now, you have a young phenom goaltender that you guys drafted and thought to be the future in the franchise moving forward, and he's obviously frustrated. In the quote from the article that he stated that I put in there, Carter Hart said, "I just need to find more ways to stop pucks. Just go out and play, not overthink things, and just trust my game." It's just pretty crappy right now, to put it nicely.
Yeah, right. Beep.
Yeah. So obviously he's frustrated.
Yeah.
And if he's the bread and butter to this team moving forward, I think that you need to find a way, if you're the GM, to get him on the right track again. Obviously his play has been horrendous as of late, and his confidence is all but gone. So what I would do would be to bring in a first pairing right hand shot defenseman in that sense. But that is not the case that Chuck Fletcher is leaning towards right now. I think he's also looking for some kind of deal like that, but he's out there looking for a goalie right now. And I took that sense and ran with it in this article and proposed 3 different goalies that I think he would look at. Not necessarily that I or any other fan might want him to look at right now, but real logical choices coming from his brain that he might be thinking to bring in here.
Okay. So if you're the owner, you still allow him to run the team then?
I would say for right now. I think up to this point, Chuck Fletcher has drafted pretty well. He has made some ill-advised choices as far as signing players to bring into the team. As a coaching choice, it looked great the first season, but I'm thinking AV has lost the team at this point as well. Do I want to go through another season of firing another coach and then bringing up Scott Gordon? No, I don't at this point in the season. I want to see if they're going to right themselves this season or be able to. I want to see and force Chuck Fletcher's hand at making a big move. I want to see when his back is now against the wall.
Give him the
I want to
rope.
see. I want to see him. Yeah, I want to give him the rope. I want to see if he's gonna swing with that rope across to the ledge beyond and carry this, be able to make that move to bring in a guy that can carry the team past this hardship, or if he's gonna do nothing or make the wrong move and since hang himself
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
And then I think this season is a crapshoot at this point anyway. So I want to see if he's going to make a big move and in the right direction, or if he's going to hang himself. And thus, let's just bring up the young kids in a few games, which I think they've already started to, with bringing different names up, with Tanner Lazinski and Linus Sandine up to the taxi squad as of late. So that's where I want to go. Do I think that firing both the coach and the GM right now is the answer? No, I don't think that you're going to be able to find somebody to bring in right now that is going to make the team that much better this season. So I want to see them make that big change, big move in the lineup and in the trade deadline, and see if they can right it.
Okay. I agree with you a lot. We have been preaching to the choir a lot about the defense needs to be upgraded, not the goaltending.
Right.
And this is what I want to get into. This is why I wanted to get into this specifically, because I agree with you 110%. If you get a right-hand defensive shot that can bang the boards, that can make that first initial pass, and it's got some size and some weight and some skating ability and doesn't know how to turn the puck over, I guarantee you'll see a different goaltender. Look, the fact that Carter Hart has been out and the team is still losing 6-1, right there proves to me that it is not the goaltending. So, with that being said, is this just a simple case of Carter Hart getting some practice time and getting some time away to regroup?
Okay, so where I hit in this article with that thought process in mind is that Carter Hart, in a sense, doesn't know how to lose, and since he was 15 years old, all he ever did is win. Okay, championship after championship at each individual level of play in juniors and everything that he's been in. Now, this being his first real test of some adversity to see his way by, he's floundering in a sense. But it's nice to see that it's not only him. Now, Brian Elliott, on the other hand, is now has been carrying the team a little bit in a sense when Carter Hart was floundering. But now the team is playing no different in front of Elliott. And Elliott has a lot more years under his belt in the NHL that he has been that guy where he has had horrible defenses in front of him, and he's had to play above and beyond to keep, which he has here as well, up till recently, to that point where he's keeping the team at least competitive on a night in and night out basis. So do I think, bringing in another goaltender is the answer? No, I don't. I think they're going to get much of the same result, even from the names I mentioned in the article that have been much of that same role as Elliott was trying to provide on other teams.
Exactly. So that's why I want to get into next. In the article, you do mention some players that you think Chuck would be interested in, and when I read this article, I was like, I mean, I could kind of see maybe one of them.
Yeah.
But Look, tell me who the names of these players were that you think that Chuck would be looking at.
Right. So again, here, guys, it's what I think Chuck is going to be
That's why
looking at.
I'm stressing
Right.
Chuck is
Right.
looking at,
Because
not
if
us.
right, if it was me, then if I
Be
wanted to go this route and I was a GM, I would be looking at Jonathan Quick, who has a couple of different cups. I would be looking at a 38-year-old PK Ryan from Nashville, somebody that has experience in a number one goaltender to bring in for this season. But that's me. That's not Chuck. Some of the guys that I think Chuck is currently looking at to bring in, if he so chooses to do so, would be number one, Jonathan Bernier, which is playing for the Detroit Red Wings right now. He is kind of beat up and banged up right now. He's recovering, but he should be back soon. But he is much a player like Brian Elliott, who over the course of his career has played for many different teams. I think 5 to be exact up to this point. And he's never really been a overall number one guy for any length of time. He has been at times, but then he again settles in as a backup role or is brought in a sense that a number one guy has gone down and he's to fill in for a short time period, which is much needed right now.
Yeah, especially this time.
Right. The team has been linked to him by multiple different reports out there and trade chatter. And obviously, the Detroit Red Wings are absolutely horrendous right now. And he's been one of the only bright spots on that team this season. So he would be one guy. I think he has a expiring contract at the end of this year that would only. I think he makes $3 million. He's in his early 30s, and he would be somebody that could possibly come in and be maybe a step up from a Brian Elliott in that sense.
Because he's 2 years younger.
Because he's a couple of years younger, and he's coming in and not having this, he's coming in with a new sense of it's a new team, it's a new breath of fresh air.
For him, yeah.
For him, obviously being with the Detroit Red Wings, who are even worse than us right now. So that's one person.
Okay. Who else?
Another person would be a guy who Chuck Fletcher would be recycling in a sense and bringing back from a team previous that he has done in the past. Now, a reason why I think his mindset would be here, guys, is he has shown in the past with guys like Chris Stewart, Nate Prosser, and Curtis Gabriel, all have played with him before, with the Minnesota Wild and elsewhere. And he's at one point or another brought them into the Flyers system because he thought that they could help his team along. So he is one of those guys that will bring back a guy. And that's why I think he has to be looking towards a Devin Dubnyk of the San Jose Sharks right now, who played for the Wild for a number of years.
Yeah.
During Chuck's tenure there.
Yeah.
And while he has been struggling as of late for the Sharks, he could be looking at a much better situation here in Philly as well.
Grass is greener.
Grass is greener. He does get paid a little bit more than Bernier, but he does still have an expiring contract. And he has over 150 more starts in the NHL than Bernier does. So he has a little bit more time in between the pipes and has been that number one guy for teams in the past. So that is one sense. And obviously you would want the struggling Sharks right now to be able to retain some of his salary through the rest of this season so that it wouldn't limit us if the Flyers just went out and got him, and that would be the only cap space they had to do anything, Yeah. So, he is a big guy. He's 6'6", so he would cover a lot of net up, and, that's one other person that he might have his eye on. The last guy would be a Darcy Kemper. in a sense, with the Arizona Coyotes currently. He too was, I think, signed and drafted by Chuck during his time in the Wild. And he is a big guy too, at 6'5" and over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
He's since moved on to Arizona, where he's pretty much had a successful run with them last season and this season as well before getting injured. So he too, like Bernier, is coming back from injury very soon and could help the struggling Flyers out, being that the Coyotes, you know, probably aren't going to make the playoffs this season as well at this point, and might be looking to get rid of him. He does have a year on his contract after this, which, again, we would want the Coyotes to then possibly pick up or retain part of his salary for this year and next if we made a deal.
Yeah.
So in all these cases, I think we're going to have to overpay the price that we would just to be able to acquire these guys. And do I want to see the asking price for Bernier is the only clear-cut one that's been out there, and that's even a second-round draft pick. And that's a lot to ask of a struggling Flyers team who, at this point, if they keep going in the route they are in, it's going to be a pretty high, close to first-round draft pick being that second-round pick. Is he really the guy that's going to push them over the edge and right this, Saul? I don't think either one of these three options would be that at this time.
I have to agree with you 100%. The goaltending you have is in the system currently. If you had to go worst case scenario, you can get Ivan for next year.
Yeah, and I definitely think that any of these three guys are not going to be a long-term option. They're going to be this season, the rest of the season, and be either let go, or in Kemper's case, he might be around and maybe you don't bring back Brian Elliott next season, being that Darcy is quite a few years younger than Elliott, and he would then take his spot in helping Hart along and until you get a guy like Ivan to come across from the KHL.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted to say that, because I don't think, personally, I don't think it's the goaltending that needs to be rectified here. And frankly, if I was the owner of this and I was seeing what the general manager was doing and looking at goaltending, I might have to have a meeting and call him into my office and be like, excuse me, Mr. Fletcher, but smack. Goaltending is not where you should be looking. I think that the time away and some practice time for Carter Hart is going to do him some good. And maybe a stint down in the AHL. Why not? What? Why? I mean, you can call it conditioning. You can call it training. I don't care what you call it. Send him down there and let him play, because he needs to build confidence, and the best way to do that is to have him play with some teammates that he's played with before, have him get used to playing his new style, his new technique that he's trying to, do whatever he's doing, give him an opportunity. At least he would be playing. At least he would be given an opportunity to do those kinds of things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, very much so. I think that, like I said in my article, that Carter Hart is frustrated. He is working on his game. He does want to succeed, unlike what AV has him kind of labeled at in one of the quotes that he said in used in the article. He basically was saying he needs to try harder, he needs to practice harder. I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why AV would say that, but at this point, Carter Hart has fired his sports psychologist that he's been using since his time at Everett in juniors, because he doesn't feel that's working anymore. He wants to move in a new direction.
Clearly.
He's trying to right his wrongs here, guys. Yeah. And I said also in there, as you alluded to, I think possibly I don't know the stipulations with him. He's still on a rookie deal. Carter Hart is, and he, being that he would get a deal next year, I don't know how that would work to send him down. I don't think he would have to go through waivers at this point. He should still be on a two-way deal, but don't quote me on that.
That's a good point.
But I would have to look into that further.
Yeah.
The team has not really made any points to do that just yet, but if I had so choice and I was the GM, I think I would do that at this point because he has a guy down there in Wyatt Wiley who he played in juniors in Everett with, who he won championships with.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he being a goalie, I know specifically like one guy I can say that I played with my whole career as a kid growing up, and that he just brought a sense of calmness to my game when he was out on the ice. He's somebody that I grew up playing with. I knew where he was on the ice. I knew what he was going to do on the ice. He knew what I wanted from him in different situations during the game. And it would always playing with him when I was on different teams or came back to being on another team with him.
Yeah.
It always brought us right back to where we were at the level of play that we knew we could both play at,
dude.
because we knew each other in that sense. And I think that, not saying that Wyatt Wiley and him are that close, but I think that that familiarity
I get
from
you.
his past could right his wrongs in a sense and get his confidence back a little bit.
See, that's
So,
what see exactly. We would have to kind of be checking into that to see if that's going to be the case. If Carter Hart even could go down to play in the AHL, I don't know what. We'd have to check on that, but that's a possibility. I'm not against that idea, to be honest with you either. I don't have a problem with that. I think that would be an excellent idea, to be truthful with you. I mean, at this point, what do you have to lose? And all you can do is make things better for your goaltender and increase his confidence and everything like that. This is a perfect article to point out just how disconnected this team feels from the inside as well as the outside. That they are talking about looking for goaltending help when clearly this is not the issue for the most part. I think defense. If you just had a defensive player that could do those things and be that player, they are out there. They just cost a lot. Okay, and so instead of bringing in these tweeners and these guys that you think might be able to help the team, go get somebody can help the team. I'm tired of seeing all this. I think this guy can help the team. No. Bring in somebody that is gonna help the team, and it's gonna need to be more than one guy. So.
Yeah, I definitely think you're on that right path there. The Flyers need to do that. They need to overpay. They need to go out and get a home run here to right the wrongs and fix this problem. If you get creative, I think Chuck Fletcher, like he did when he was able to steal Niskanen away from the Capitals because they were in a cap hardship. I think a player like that is out there, and you won't have to pay the David Savard or any of these other guys that are sitting at the top of every team's trade bait list right now.
Yeah.
And talking about first round picks and everything else, I think that you could steal a guy for a lot less and, him feel that same void that has been left by Matt Niskanen early retirement. So,
exactly.
I think it is out there. I think they do need to do something, and I think they do need to do something now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. Well, listen, we're going to take a little break here. We're going to have a quick word from our sponsor, www.cccresorts.com. They are a great sponsor of the show. They've been since the very beginning, and check them out. They got a great facility, and you'll love seeing seeing what they offer. So thank you very much for our sponsor. Greetings. This is Steel Flyers from the Steel Flyers All Sports Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. Steel Flyer stands behind this company 100%. They've taken care of Steel Flyer's furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger, and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities, and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full-service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God. All right. Well, thank you very much for our sponsor, www.cccresorts.com. Check them out for all your daycare and pool needs for your dog and your cat. They do all kinds of great services there, so check them out. Thank you very much for being our sponsor. All right, Lance, the other article that we have to talk about here is the one that you posted just the other day, and man, what another great piece to the FlyersNittyGritty.com website. Clearly, the Flyers have not learned from other mistakes. Carter Hart is beginning to draw some alarming similarities to young Steve Mason, and I have to say, I can see what you're talking about, indeed. And when this article was initially posted, there was some flack, feedback, yeah, brushback, whatever you want to call that. I mean, you were, dodging bullets there a little bit. So, all right, let's hear it. I agree with you I mean, I can see the similarities. I really can see the similarities. So, It just seems like a similar path with both Mason and Hart winning at such a young age, and you pointed it out earlier in the beginning part of the show. So, all right, man, what's going on here with this?
Yeah, for sure. So to explain the background behind this article is, I'm a goalie. I've been a goalie for 30 years. I've studied goalies, and I studied a
Because you
young.
are one.
Right. So I studied a young Steve Mason when he was drafted because he came
Yeah.
with a lot of hype, just like Carter Hart did coming from
Yeah.
Everett.
Won the
So
Calder.
yeah, Steve Mason won the Calder and everything like that coming out. He had an excellent season and his first year. But that is where it lies there. I think a lot of people, when you were talking about the flack, read the article and immediately said, "Oh, Carter Hart's," thinking I was picking on Carter Hart. I'm not picking on Carter Hart with this article, guys. I simply was stating that his team and management is doing him a big disservice, and I think it became more apparent as it wasn't just Carter Hart. Now we're starting to see Brian Elliott get shell shocked too, on a nightly basis. So maybe it's not all Carter Hart here, guys. It's a bigger issue, like we're saying, with the defense, with the coach, with management rushing these two young guys along in their careers because of the need for them.
Yeah. See, that's where the biggest part of this comes into is rushing them in because of the need.
Yes.
And the whole thing was Carter Hart was kind of rushed because of the need, because the year previously was the carousel of goalies, where the Flyers started a record 8 goalies in one season. I mean, that just is ridiculous, the fact that they did that. And then the next year, this kid that Hextall drafted, comes in and goes, yeah, I can play, and actually was lights out coming in and looked really good. So, like, all right, well, so ride the kid. Hey, he's playing good. We're winning games. Hey, we're winning. And it's amazing what the attitude of everybody is when the team is winning.
For sure. And much in that sense, I think what I say, Carter Hart started at what? Came up when he was 20, 21, around about. And, Steve Mason had much of the same pedigree coming up, 10 years apart. But in a sense, we might have had still Mason if he was successful in net. He's younger than Mason still, and he's already retired. And why is that, guys? Let's dive into that a little bit here. Mason was a award-winning pedigree. He's won every Ontario Hockey League Goaltender of the Year. He won OHL championships, World Junior championships, just like Carter Hart, for Team Canada, winning gold for Team Canada, just like Carter Hart. But Mason was brought into Columbus early and rushed at just 20 years old because of the fact that they didn't have a franchise goaltender, and they were struggling in that sense because the guy that was already there, who was drafted in the first round, a guy named Pascal Leclaire, number 8 overall, he was selected by Columbus, wasn't working out. Exactly. Pascal Leclaire, another young, very, very, prominent goaltender coming up, even more so than Mason and Hart were at the time, because he was drafted in the first round, 8th overall. And for a goalie is unheard of, guys. Very few guys reach that level. Carter Hart was the best goalie of his draft class, and he was drafted in the second round. So Leclaire was thrown into, the big show at age 21 and was since ruined by the time he was, 24, 25 by Columbus because of much of the same thing. He was rushed along. and made to be that guy beforehand. But going back to Mason here, Mason, just like Carter Hart, had an amazing first season because he he
Still good.
was he was so good that the team was able to ride him on that high coming out of juniors, coming out of a world junior championship,
Yeah.
gold medal and all this stuff. He was riding a high himself,
Yeah.
and he won 33 regular season games that season, had 10 shutouts in his rookie season, won the Calder Trophy for best rookie, and
Which is unheard of for a goalie.
which is unheard of for a goalie to win that award.
Exactly.
But just like Carter Hart, his rookie season was in Calder Trophy contention, but he played a lot more games than Mason did. I think Mason only played in 2 or 3 games in the AHL before being called up immediately to the NHL level. And I think Carter Hart had I don't know, a handful under 20
Yeah.
before
Like
he was
14 or something.
before he was called up to the NHL.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when a lot of people busted on Hextall when he didn't want to rush him in a sense, and he wanted him to get a full season or two in the AHL level before they brought him up to the NHL level, and said, "Oh, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about." But look at where it's got us now. We have a fragile, uh, you know, goaltender that was supposed to be the franchise uh, goalie, the guy to replace Hextall, since he last took off the pads, and now we don't know how much damage we've done to this guy, throwing him into the limelight and not setting him up, just like Mason was with Columbus.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
after such a great season, in a sense where he led the Blue Jackets to their first ever playoff run, the team then couldn't afford to sign everybody back, and people left and people retired and all that, just like Niskanen did,
Yes, it gets worse
just
and
like
worse.
just like Pitlick did after the great season the Flyers had last season.
Yeah.
And now the Flyers didn't have that, just like Mason's team didn't have that.
Yeah.
Even after that, when Mason came to Philly and restarted his career and had a phenomenal time in Philly when he had those pieces like a Kimmo
Yeah.
Timonen and a Mark Streit here to
Yeah.
solidify that defensive core in Philly during his time here. The Flyers let that get away. Mason had a great year, so they said, we don't need those guys like a Timo, and traded him away. Obviously, he was getting up there in years, and they wanted him to actually go get a cup. And then Mark Streit, much of the same thing. He was solid, but he was getting older but they did nothing to replace those guys. They changed that sense of protective defensive defenseman and went all Shane Gostisbeheres and Sanheims and Myers, who are all offensively minded defensemen, and went out there and got Gustafsson, another offensively minded defenseman, and didn't take care of the porch, didn't take care of the guy who's supposed to be
Minding the
that
net.
backstop.
Yeah.
Supposed to be that team's backstop in Carter Hart. And now he's all but a shattered form of his self now.
I I tweeted out today about the fact that teams need physicality to win games. Okay? And you need to have, not only do you need to have that goaltender back there, but you need to have that defense and players in front of you that are able to clear the porch, that are able to keep those point blank shots from coming, that are able to keep those guys from swinging around the whole entire net to try to get those little wraparound tries or those little lacrosse things or whatever you want to call it. Okay, you need those type of players. It's been completely proven and shown. All you have to do is look at Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Chicago, all the previous cup winning teams, Boston. They all were physical teams that would hit you. Okay, and so
Even Pittsburgh had players on the back end.
Gosh, come on. It's everybody knows that defense wins championships. It's across the freaking board. Hockey, football, doesn't matter. It's the same thing. You got to be able to have those defensive players doing those things. Right now, the Flyers are significantly lacking in those particular areas by having the Shane Gostisbeheres and the Gustafsons and the Brauns of the world. And then the young talent that's coming up, the Myerses and the Sandheims, and it's all kind of the same molded type player. And it's like, well, you got Provorov out there. You're just kind of letting that guy out there all by himself. He's playing 25 minutes a game. I mean, gosh, the guy's what, 24?
Sounds awful familiar, guys. Let's see, Timonen, Mark Streit, Eric Desjardins. We had one amazing defenseman. We play the heck out of them and expect them to do everything, and then they get tired and they get broke down.
Yeah. I mean,
because they got to play so much.
And what, God forbid, anything to happen to Provorov. But okay. Do you think that there's anything that can be done here to right the ship for Carter Hart? I mean, what look, we all you've played, you know what it's like. You've been down there, you've worn those skates, okay?
Yeah, I think that we've touched on it already, and you said that Physicality. Thank God Chuck Fletcher came out and made a statement and told Sam Morin that he will play defense the rest of the year, whereas AV and Ian LaPerriere want to play him on wing. That obviously didn't work. He's ecstatic, Morin is ecstatic that he has that opportunity to play defense, and that's where he feels he can help the team the most. And even though the team is losing, you can see that slow change when he's out on the ice for those couple minutes, being obviously he's not a top pairing defenseman, but a banger, a grinder on the bottom pair, and that's what he is, and that every team needs that. But we need more of that. And more of that to play minutes if we're going to have a yin and a yang effect with Sanheim and Myers and everybody and Gostisbehere and that want to go score goals. You have to have somebody that's going to do the opposite and stay back and protect the net and protect your asset in the blue paint that we've been so long waiting for. We need to protect that. We need to protect Carter Hart, and we're doing a horrible job of it.
That's a specifically excellent point. Very good. Yeah, that's why I wanted to point this out. That's why this was such a great article, because it's not the goaltending. I'm sorry, Mr. Fletcher, but you are barking up the wrong tree here. You should not be looking for goaltending. If you want to look for goaltending, then I think you should look no further than the guy that you have potentially coming out of a contract that's going to potentially be available, Ivan. And I would make sure that would be my number one priority, bring him in here and have him and Carter Hart. At this point, why not? I mean, I just don't understand what's going on here with why they're thinking about a goaltender when clearly they need a defensive player and another offensive player that is able to do some other things. You know what I'm saying? And it just frustrates me that this is the direction that they're going.
Yeah, I see this, and I like the similarities that or a simile that I threw out there in a sense of football. This is a young goaltender, and you should treat him as if he was a young starting quarterback. Would you throw your young starting quarterback out there with a horrible offensive line, much like the Eagles last season did to Carson Wentz, and say, hey, this guy's not working. Let's go get another guy that you've been waiting for forever and is so hard to find? Or are you going to go get those cog pieces on that offensive line to shore it up, to give that star player a little time? To be able to see the puck, to be able to give him that time needed to do his job, much as you should do in hockey.
Exactly.
You have a goalie. If you have 5 guys standing in front of him, how is he supposed to see the puck to stop it? I don't know. How do you not clear the porch out? How do you not give him the time and day and have people in front of him that know that when it's a 2-on-1, I'm going to go ahead and take the pass away and allow him just to focus on the shot. This is basic stuff that the team isn't doing right now.
Right.
And it's just horrendous to blame it on a quarterback, or much so the goalie, in that sense.
Yeah.
When you have that awesome star player, that guy that has so much potential, but you don't protect him and you allow him to falter and fade away.
You clearly pointed this out in the article that it's not about that. It's about the fact that, he's not being protected and he's not being taken care of. Okay. And you can't expect success when you don't set somebody up for success. And that's the failing part here. That's this whole failing part, is that if you're gonna lean on this guy, then you got to put the pieces around him. And
Yes.
if you don't put the pieces around him, and he is not able to live up to quote unquote expectations, then what? Okay.
Mason had his own problems, and I'm not saying that they're twins separated at birth here with the similarities of this article, but look at what happened with Mason. Look at what happened with what's his name from the Capitals that came out and won a Vezina in his first year. At Jim Carrey. So much potential, so much and then it just faded away because you didn't protect it. You used and abused it for everything that it was worth, and then threw him on the scrap heap when you were done with him, because of the fact the Flyers need to get away from this, and they've been running this carousel of goaltenders ever since really Ron Hextall retired. Okay. We've had guys that have came in and done it. John Van Viesbroek and all this other guys that showed promise on other teams, and then they get here, and the Flyers didn't build around them. They didn't take care of them. They didn't set them up for success. They set them up to fail. And I thought
Bobrovsky was a perfect example.
Bobrovsky, perfect example there. I think they gave up on him a little too early because Ed Snyder was just tired of this sense, and he wanted a proven number one guy right now and didn't want to wait for Bobrovsky to develop. But, this is the sense, like, you gotta protect and you gotta set up these guys to succeed, and we, as an organization, have failed to do so. And I thought that this was going to be different with this new regime came in, but it's becoming abundantly clear that they are just following suit and not going that route that maybe Hextall wanted to suddenly go and was trying to go, but
I'm with you. I think we can both see the writing on the walls here. You see what I did there? This team is headed for some serious shakeup, I think. And at this point, anyone is on the block, I suppose. I don't feel it should be the goaltending. There are much more glaring issues other than the blue paint. And so that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it starts with the GM. I think he has to make a huge move to right this. I think the coach has to come in and utilize the players that he has better. I think that he needs to realize that his system isn't working and maybe change it. I think that from a captain and alternate captain system, I think they need to step up more in the locker room and start yelling at some guys and pulling some guys up in a sense. But at the same token, when you look at a guy like Shane Gostisbehere, who did stand up and say, hey, it's not just Carter Hart.
Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah.
We need to do
waived.
better. And he gets waived for that. So I think the team and the organization as a whole is totally sending the wrong message here And I applaud maybe Sean Gossesbear to step up and say, hey, we're not doing it, right, and we're failing these kids, and Elliot as well,
Exactly.
in that, and we need to be better,
Yeah.
and we need to take it upon ourselves to come out and prepare that much better.
Exactly.
And it just doesn't it doesn't get rewarded, it gets punished. So I seriously think that this team is digging themselves in a trench that they're not going to be able to come out of unless they really make a strong effort to make some major changes soon.
Well, so speaking of changes soon, I mean, I know you put one out today. Anything on the docket for coming up?
Some stuff written down on scratch paper for sure. Over the course of the weekend, I got tomorrow off for the holiday,
Ooh, yeah, me
so
too. Well,
maybe I
half a
can
day.
wake up and start to work on my next piece. But yes, I do have some thoughts in mind, and
Awesome.
usually I let them build up until I just have to get it out of my head, and
Those are the
uh,
best.
yeah, those tend to be the best articles that I write, that I just got to sit down and not stop writing until it
Yeah,
all
man.
gets out. Um, but yeah, I think that there should be some new good articles coming out sooner
Yeah,
rather than later. And we shall
excited.
see how this team is going to push forward in the future. I would like to say I do like the fact that the team did sign Cameron York. Um, and I look forward to seeing him hopefully in Lehigh Valley,
Soon.
soon. And just another piece that could, be a protection for Carter Hart moving forward. So
Exactly. Yeah,
that
I'm
was one good sense that we can get off the gray, dreary
Yeah,
sense of the
that's a
Flyers
good
right
way.
now, and
That's a
look.
perfect way to end on a good, solid note because Cameron York, I got an opportunity to watch him play in juniors, the World Junior Championships, and then I've been able to watch some of his college games. This guy is the real deal. He's not, this big giant guy coming in like Sam Moran, but he is the real deal. Okay, and I like what this guy's bringing to the table. So
Yeah, I hopefully think that this guy is going to be the real deal. For Fletcher to pass up on a guy like Cole Caulfield when he was sitting there, he obviously had to think highly of him. And his play this season did show that maybe he did make a wise
pretty good
move,
one there, yeah.
pretty wise move. And we shall see what he has to offer the team moving forward.
You got it, man. All right. Well, Lance, we got another good one here for you. Thank you all very much for watching. We all appreciate you guys following us and liking us and watching us. We really appreciate all that. We really like the fact that you guys do show your appreciation. So thank you very much for that. We'd also like to thank Jamie Pascal, the FlyersNittyGritty.com group, for all their support. So thank you very much for that. Lance, how can we get a hold of you? Where can we get all your great stuff?
Sure. As always, you can catch my stuff on flyersnittygrady.com or follow me or on Twitter at LNGBASSIST. The number's 39. And please, guys, I enjoy the feedback. But please don't just read the title of the article and assume you know what the article is. Give it a read. Give me a fair chance. And then comment on it. And I will love to sit there and debate with you on Facebook or Twitter or any link that I'm on, and hash out any questions you have on there.
For sure, man, for sure. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. We want your feedback. We don't want you to just read the title. We want you to read the articles because that's why Lance, you do these articles because it's information out there, and if you get the information, then we can sit down and have a good, intelligent conversation about this team. So, thank you very much, Lance, for all the great work you do. Thanks for all the great articles that you write. Really appreciate that, man. You're the wheel that makes this go. So, thank you very much for that, man. And we will catch you all on the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc. This is Can the Flyers Learn from Their Mistakes? We'll catch you all on the next show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.